Expert mode might just be one of the hardest challenges ever seen in a tower defense game on Roblox. Tower Defense X, a Roblox tower defense game released by John Roblox, which I'm assuming most of you already know about, at first may look like any old regular tower defense game. You put towers, the towers attack the enemies. Simple. The gameplay is made out of 4 modes: Easy, Intermediate, Elite, and Expert, with Nightmare mode currently being in the works. If you're wanting to be Easy mode, you're looking at a loadout similar to this. It really isn't that hard to beat the final boss with just a Ranger, which is the first tower in the game. If you're wanting to beat Intermediate mode, you're looking at a loadout something like this. These towers also do not take that long to get. Elite mode might require some towers that take a while to grind for, but all of this pales in comparison to Expert mode, the hardest mode that is currently in the game. For this, Advisor recommends Juggernaut. This is currently the last tower in the game that you can unlock, and it is a really strong tower. Juggernaut on Easy, Intermediate, and Elite modes would completely make a joke out of those modes. Capable of doing over 1,000 damage per second, it most certainly should be a useful tower against Expert. Even Advisor himself says so. You need Juggernaut for this mode. If not, good luck. You know what I say to Advisor? I'm about to do this first try. Here's the loadout that I'm going to use. Yes, it has Juggernaut in it, but I'm not even going to place it down, so you may as well consider this a waste of a slot, because our plan, well, that's going to stay a secret until the end. But in the meantime, let's get started on our game. I'll be doing the strategy with a Gripted, even though it is entirely possible solo, but I kind of wanted to get this done quick, so I just decided a duo would be better. And so we went on Blocks Out. Because Expert mode is so insanely difficult that after 4 days of the game being released, only 100 people have beaten it, a lot of whom actually cheesed it using the Cryo Gunner. It was able to freeze the final boss, and you'd basically just get a free win. But we aren't even going to be doing that, as you could tell, because I don't have Cryo in my loadout. To start, I placed down a Laser Gunner, and I started farming. Without Laser Gunner, you really can't get this done, just because there's armored enemies and stealth enemies that come so early. Although, I don't know, maybe if you put in 1,000 attempts, you could figure something out. Laser Gunner would get us through the first few waves, and it would give me enough time for me to buy a farm. By the way, I should mention that the loadout Gripted is using is Farm, Mine Layer, Laser Gunner, EDJ, and Cryo. Even though we won't be freezing the boss, it'll still help us get through the waves. On wave 4, I get the money from my farm, and I upgrade my Laser Gunner to Laser Knowledge, which makes it do 6 damage per shot, and therefore 2-shot the enemies on this mode. We still leak a little bit, but after the skip, Gripted gets his Laser Gunner, and that should help us get through wave 5. We still leak some of the enemies, but it's fine, I just upgrade my farm, and we keep moving along. The first stealth enemies are on wave 6, which is again why Laser Gunner is just absolutely necessary, because any other tower really wouldn't be able to handle those unless you upgrade them, and you don't have a lot of money, but that's why we have Laser Gunner. We still leak some of the heavy plus zombies, but we can ignore that as we're going to get some defenses in the back later, and in the meantime I get energy cells in order to kill off these armored enemies. These armored enemies only die to explosives or armor piercing shots, which the Laser Gunner has. So like, even if you somehow got Juggernaut on this wave, it wouldn't even help. On wave 8 comes out some strong stealth stuff, so I just upgrade the bottom path of my Laser Gunner and get some more damage done. And there's the said Laser Gunner at the back, which is going to finish off the heavies and anything else that leaks. On wave 10 comes out a Knight with over 1,000 HP, which is a really big difficulty spike, and in order to help counter it, I get down a Missile Trooper. The Missile Trooper is also going to be used to help kill off the Grenadier, because that thing summons enemies, and without it, it'll just be a lot easier to focus on the Knight. We leak the Knight with some HP left, but the Laser Gunner at the back is going to finish it off anyways, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. Wave 11, there's some stealths that are actually just pretty easy, so we have no issue taking them down. I can keep farming. Wave 12 has stealth Grenadiers, but thanks to Laser Gunners, we can kill off the Grenadiers and then focus on that super heavy zombie, which we can also kill because of the Laser Gunners. Wave 13 would also be a problem because 3 Grenadiers spawns a lot of stuff, but setting our stuff on last can just focus on them first, and yeah, that leaves us with no enemies to worry about. Wave 14, there's a lot of armored zombies and multipliers, so if you don't have a Missile Trooper on this round, good luck getting through it. But I did have a Missile Trooper, so this round was pretty easy. We just focused on the enemies, and yeah, it wasn't that hard. Wave 15 is kind of a freebie round. It spams you with a lot of enemies, but the enemies are actually not all that difficult. We managed to kill them off at the front. Wave 16 is really annoying because it spams you with a ton of Grenadiers, so I upgraded my Missile Trooper to Small Plus, which is the top path. That fires kind of quick, does 100 damage a shot, and it was able to help out greatly with taking out these Grenadiers. My farming was looking pretty good going into Wave 17. Wave 17 had some quick stuff, but we already had our defenses upgraded, so that wasn't going to be that big of a problem, and my farming was looking pretty fantastic. Wave 18 is another really difficult round because now we have 3 Knights and a bunch of little enemies that have a ton of HP as well. I got some good shots off with my missile trooper, which helped clear out most of the enemies. The stuff that leak is just going to be killed off by the missile trooper in the back. Wave 19 had a stealth elite grenadier, which was one of the most annoying enemies just in general, because it spawned these shockers that just kept stunning our towers. But by setting some of our stuff on last, we were able to kill it off and didn't really have to deal with the shockers much more. Wave 20 was another completely free round, and we also got a cryo, which was honestly kind of pointless, but whatever. Wave 21 was also going to be extremely easy just because we had a missile trooper. We also froze one of the multipliers, which is a really genius strategy because then it can't duplicate the enemies that are in front of it. In fact, that's one of the best reasons to use cryo. It's to just straight up freeze the multipliers. Wave 22 though, this was a big difficulty spike. We had 2 monsters, an elite grenadier, and we had a charger boss. I placed down another laser gunner and we used the DJ ability to kill off the charger boss, and then I set my stuff on last to kill the elite grenadier so that we wouldn't have to deal with the shockers. Some stuff still managed to get through, but we would upgrade the laser gunner in the back later to deal with that. Wave 24 was kind of problematic because it had several elite grenadiers that just kept spawning shockers and kept stunning our stuff. Again, some stuff would get past, but the laser gunner in the back would take care of it because it was upgraded. Wave 25 had some of these armored runners that just were resistant to everything except for laser gunners, meaning, yeah, just use laser gunner for that round. And the rest of the waves were kind of easy, because I would be spamming bottom path missile troopers, MRL, which did a ton of damage, and it would just be super good at controlling crowds, while Egg was spamming down bottom path laser gunners, which just did fantastic DPS. It was all going good until Wave 30. Wave 30 spawns 3 Predators, which are extremely strong enemies that have 30,000 HP, and they can kill your towers. In order to combat that, I spammed down a bunch of Johns so that the Predators would shoot at the Johns rather than the important stuff. And not to mention some of the Predators were stealth as well, but we would use a laser gunner ability to unstealth those, which is really nice that bottom path laser gunner can do that. We ended up absolutely shredding all 3 of the Predators, and only one of our towers died, which was one of my MRLs. That's kind of sad because it's expensive, but I'm about to make all that money back because I maxed out all of my farms. On Wave 31, there were a bunch of enemies that were resistant to explosives, meaning that all the MRLs I invested to were kinda useless, but thankfully we had enough laser gunners to deal with all of this. But on Wave 33, we did leak some stuff, which was kinda scary, so we got a laser gunner, cryo, and missile trooper at the back to help kill that stuff off. It came really close, but after this, it was a lot more smooth sailing. On Wave 34, there's usually a ton of super dangerous multipliers, but we actually froze most of the multipliers at the front, and thanks to MRL, the crowd control was good enough for us to deal with all the spam of enemies. Here's an image of how many multipliers there are right there, by the way. If you were to kill all of those at once, you would multiply all the enemies in their range by over 300 times. So yeah, Wave 34 is just one of the hardest waves on Expert. And that's why cryo is super good if you set it on last, by the way. Wave 35, we leaked a ton of stuff, but then again, we had some defenses at the back, which would help out a lot. And we even had a mine layer down, which would kill off the enemies that stepped on its mines. Now stop. These last 2 waves aren't going to be that hard, but Wave 40 has Eradicator Mark II. With Juggernauts, Skyhawks, the strongest things in the game imaginable, you will still have a very hard time winning. Considering we're not even allowed to use Juggernaut, how are we going to kill this thing? Let's initiate the Anti-Eradicator Mark II sequence.
Look at him dancing! Look at it! Wait, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this guy.
Dude, we just won with Mine Layer.